A soft tone of a ringing phone gently breaks into the quiet hum of a suburban neighborhood. The caller is a representative from Twitter's internal support team, their voice calm, assured, displaying familiarity with routine issues. "This is the internal support service. It seems you're experiencing another VPN connectivity problem," the voice says smoothly, almost casually, as if these interruptions had become a familiar part of the daily workflow. The support agent, or rather the person posing as one, listens attentively as the employee on the other end logs into their system, entering the username and password, then confirms the login by providing a code sent directly to the employee's registered mobile device. Everything appears to proceed according to standard security procedures. Within moments, the employee assures the caller that everything is now in order. "It's working fine now," they say, wishing the support person a good evening before disengaging with a casual click. However, the support agent on the line isn't who he claims to be. In fact, he's a teenager named Graham, just 17 years old, who is pretending to be a technical support operative to carry out his clandestine plan. Outside the apartment building, there stands a white BMW, a symbol of success and status, while in the nearby room, a powerful gaming PC emits a soft glow, hinting at hours spent in digital battles and online pursuits. Adorning his wrist is a gleaming Rolex watch studded with diamonds, a trophy of sorts, earned through a series of petty scams and small-time hacking endeavors. But today, Graham is no longer content with minor tricks. He's on the verge of executing the most daring cyber intrusion of his entire life. Behind his youthful facade, he's orchestrating a complex game of cat and mouse, targeting some of the most prominent figures in the world of tech, politics, and entertainment. His small but ambitious team plans to infiltrate the online accounts of illustrious individuals: Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Kanye West, and Mr. Bisto, among others. Graham's ultimate goal is not just to access these accounts, but to push the boundaries of his skills and challenge the digital security of the most famous people. His operation even extends to the account of a future Twitter purchaser, a target many would consider untouchable for quite some time. The first phase of his scheme might seem straightforward. He aims to swipe Bitcoin or other valuable cryptocurrencies stored in those high-profile accounts, all within a little more than 24 hours. This high-stakes venture marks the beginning of what would become the largest hack in Twitter's history. This is a true story, unfolding behind the scenes of what some might dismiss as mere digital mischief, but which is, in reality, a complex and dangerous breach of security. Welcome to a world where only the wealthiest and most influential dare to venture, a realm of cyber intrigue that extends far beyond simple curiosity or petty crime. Now let's rewind to the year 2016 in the city of Tampa, Florida. Here, a 13-year-old boy named Graham Ivan Clark is comfortably seated in his small bedroom, immersed in a game of Minecraft. The difficulty mode he's playing on is hardcore. That is, one wrong move, one careless mistake, and the entire game ends. For Graham, Minecraft is more than just a pastime. It's a refuge, a sanctuary from the realities of his life outside the screen. His online persona, known as Open, is becoming increasingly daring and ambitious. On YouTube, he shares videos where he openly talks about his life, how he studies from home, how he has only a few friends, and how his parents' marriage ended when he was still a child. His mother raises him and his sister alone, creating a somewhat solitary environment that perhaps fuels his desire to escape into the virtual world. Minecraft provides a way for him to carve out his own space, a realm where he can create, survive, and feel in control. But this safe haven isn't destined to remain unchallenged for long. Graham's curiosity and hunger for more lead him to venture beyond the rules of the game. Soon, the young hacker begins earning money through his online activities. He sells rare skins, unique usernames, and sometimes, in dubious ways, the counterfeit items that appeal to other players. His methods are simple but effective. Often, he takes the payment and then simply disappears, leaving buyers empty-handed. By the year of 2017, Graham's earnings from this side hustle can be estimated at around $5,000 per month, a considerable sum for a teenage boy living with his mother. At this stage, he's just 14, but already deeply immersed in the world of digital deception. Yet mere fraud isn't enough to satisfy Graham's appetite for thrill and greater influence. His ambitions grow, and in the year 2018, a new passion captures his attention: cryptocurrency. Like many teenagers drawn to the promise of quick profits and cutting-edge technology, he begins exploring the digital currency universe. He frequently visits the online forum known as OG Users, a digital marketplace where the exchange of rare usernames, stolen accounts, and hacked credentials takes place. The forum is notorious for its criminal undertakings, filled with scammers, hackers, and other cybercriminals. Here, for approximately $1, it's possible to buy an old account belonging to a famous individual or a coveted username like Bears. Grem registers under the alias Grems, attempting to navigate this risky environment, but within 4 days he's banned again, having taken money without delivering the promised goods. However, amidst these digital exploits, Grem stumbles upon a concept that promises something even more daring and dangerous: SIM swapping. It's the practice of hijacking someone's phone number by gaining control over their mobile account, an increasingly common and insidious form of identity theft. The essential question becomes, how many services linked to your mobile number, such as bank accounts, email, and social media profiles, are interconnected? The answer often reveals the vulnerability. Grem learns that by manipulating a mobile provider's procedures, he can gain access to a target's primary phone number. How does this happen in real life? Investor Greg Bennett, for example, recounts a scenario he experienced at a Boston-based AT&T store in 2016. Greg steps into the shop, having lost his phone unexpectedly. An employee offers to issue a new SIM card, which, as per standard procedure, involves verifying his identity with some form of ID and transferring his number onto the new card. While this process takes place, Greg leaves the store to wait outside, unaware that a dangerous game is unfolding behind his back. Later, he recounts in a podcast that someone impersonated him, entered the store, and claimed to be the owner of that phone number. The employee, convinced by confident lies and fake documents, issued a new SIM in the imposter's name, deactivating Greg's original number. Often such scams don't even require a physical visit to a store. A simple phone call to the provider's support line, combined with a convincing story and some technical bluffing, can suffice for an attacker to take over someone's phone number entirely. The consequences of such deception can be devastating. The very next day, Greg notices that his phone no longer has any signal. His device is completely useless. No incoming or outgoing calls, no internet access. He tries to log into his email, only to find that his account is no longer recognizable. The system treats him as a stranger. It quickly dawns on him that something very serious is happening. As he remains on hold, waiting to speak with a support representative, the malicious actors are already in control of his phone number and all associated accounts. This story illustrates how easily a seemingly simple act, a change of SIM card, can become a gateway for identity theft, financial theft, and a host of other malicious actions that follow, often without the victim even realizing it at first. When two-factor authentication is linked to SMS messages, these codes are sent directly to the intended victim's mobile device. This means that whenever someone clicks the Forgot Password option, the system sends a one-time login code via SMS to the registered phone number, which the user is supposed to read and input to regain access. However, malicious actors have learned to exploit this process to their advantage. They often set up schemes where they intercept these messages, allowing them to see the codes that are meant solely for the rightful owner. As a result, everything begins to crumble for the victim. Their email accounts, bank accounts, and cryptocurrency wallets become vulnerable, increasingly susceptible to unauthorized access. In a particularly striking example, from Bennett's digital wallet, a total of 164 bitcoins was stolen. At the time of the theft, this amounted to roughly $856,000, a colossal sum. Today, considering the rise in Bitcoin's value, that same amount would be worth multiple millions of dollars. Fortunately, some of the stolen funds were recovered. Investigators managed to trace back and retrieve 100 bitcoins, leaving 64 bitcoins unaccounted for. The investigation points toward a coordinated operation, possibly involving a specialized cybercriminal group. However, ultimately, the trail leads to a single, young individual, a teenage hacker just 17 years old, who was working closely with an accomplice. These two operated with remarkable speed and precision, executing their plans efficiently, an unsettling fact that Bennett himself concedes. Though the teenage hacker was not arrested due to his minor status under the law, authorities' investigation indicates a strong connection to a person named Graham Ivan Clark. During the extortion attempt, Bennett received a message signed with the pseudonym Screamy. The media linked this nickname to Graham, and further investigations by prominent outlets, such as the New York Times, uncovered additional matching details. As a result of this expose, Graham's life underwent dramatic changes. His luxury apartment, a BMW car, and high-end Rolex watches became part of his rapidly shrinking world. By the time he turned just short of 18, Graham made a crucial decision. He would attempt what he called the biggest move. His target was a person who was destined to become the wealthiest individual on the planet. The anticipation built as the day approached. Approximately 24 hours prior to the planned cyber attack, Elon Musk's online activity on Twitter, particularly responses to various minor inquiries, became a point of interest. Musk casually remarked that certain systems should operate automatically, hinting at a possible vulnerability. Meanwhile, in Tampa, Graham was devising a plan to sell illicit access to social media accounts and rare usernames, an activity akin to what was already being practiced by the notorious marketplace OG users. These accounts could fetch prices upwards of $1,000 each. Foolishly attempting to breach each user's account individually was a lengthy and complex process, impractical on a large scale. Instead, Graham schemed to gain internal access, essentially to infiltrate from within. His plan involved acquiring a new username, much like Captain Kirk from the Star Trek series, symbolizing leadership and strategic oversight. To execute this, he needed a team. He started reaching out on Discord, reaching out to a user with the nickname LL. He claimed to be working within Twitter, offering insider access. Although the true identity of this individual, referred to as LLOL, remains somewhat unclear, reports from the New York Times confirmed that the hacker had direct links to Graham and possibly assisted in facilitating the sale of stolen accounts. His role likely revolved around helping to market and distribute the compromised usernames and profiles. Within a few hours, this small core group expanded to include at least 5 individuals, signaling that the operation was gaining momentum and seriousness. The first stage was straightforward yet devastating, bypassing passwords using social engineering rather than brute force attempts. As indicated by court documents, Graham had previously compiled a list of Twitter support employees' contacts on LinkedIn, setting the stage for targeted communication. This was followed by a series of phone calls. One employee, answering support calls, was told, "Hello, this is Eric from support. I hear your VPN might be experiencing issues. We'll get everything configured for you." Some support staff became suspicious and reported the activity to their security department, but at least one person remained on the line, trusting the caller. The fake support representative claimed there was indeed an issue with the VPN. He promised to send a new login link. Graham then used this opportunity to send a counterfeit login page to the employee. When the employee entered their username and password, Graham immediately captured these credentials through the fake site. Simultaneously, Graham's system checked these same credentials on the real Twitter portal, ensuring he obtained valid working login details. The next barrier was two-factor authentication, which typically required a code sent via SMS. The victim received the code on their cell phone, believed it was legitimate, and entered it on the counterfeit login page. This breach effectively opened the door for Graham. By capturing the session token, he gained internal access to the victim's account. Although he might have lacked full administrative rights initially, this access alone was enough to explore internal resources. Graham navigated through internal systems, reading messages and uncovering login information belonging to a user from the Eurodeal platform, a site known for selling stolen digital assets. That account had extensive permissions, granting Graham the ability to reset credentials and tamper with account settings. With just a few clicks, he could change the email linked to any account or set a new password, effectively taking full control. His next step was to find buyers for these compromised accounts. Criminals eager to purchase high-value profiles for resale or malicious purposes. Through this method, Graham and his team planned to monetize their access, exploiting not only technical vulnerabilities but also social engineering techniques to bypass the most secure safeguards. The second stage of the operation has now begun. This phase involves the crucial market surrounding short usernames and the middlemen who facilitate their sale. One of the primary issues at this point is the reputation, or rather the complete lack of trust, surrounding Gremmin Ogers. His name is virtually unknown on the community's radar, and as a result, no one takes him seriously. To succeed in their plans, they need individuals with established, solid reputations, people who are known and trusted within the circles they operate in. Among those already involved in this scheme is a figure going by the nickname LOL, who has been actively engaged in these activities for some time. In the early hours of the morning, Chevan joins the operation. This is Mason Shepherd, a 19-year-old from southern England, whose reputation is gradually growing among the group. Not long after, another participant appears, Nima Fazeli, who is 22 years old and hails from Orlando. It seems likely that Gremmin informs both of them that he is reaching out through Twitter because it's a more effective way to earn their trust and gain credibility. Unlike Gremmin himself, both Lol and Nima have built a good reputation on a reputable online forum, which helps establish their reliability in this clandestine environment. It's a Wednesday morning, and the atmosphere within their circle is energetic. Chavin takes to his social media account and posts a message, offering a service for approximately $2,500 to $3,000. He states that he is willing to compromise any Twitter account, suggesting that previous clients have successfully received similar services, hinting at their ongoing operations. He emphasizes that payments are to be made exclusively in Bitcoin, and he requests that interested parties specify their handles and prices straight away. Serious buyers who are genuinely interested are told to send their offers privately to Gremmin via Discord. The figures start to flow: $5,000 for a double account, or 2 times the initial value, and $3,000 for a dark account. The client, eager to acquire these accounts, makes his choice, and Gremmin informs him that he can instead get all 3 types of accounts in the Empire Marketplace for $5,000 in total. Later in the day, a potential customer becomes yet another member of the group, a man named Joe, whose full name is Joseph OKR, 21 years old, from Britain. Joe has a reputation for understanding SIM swapping techniques, and there are persistent rumors suggesting that he might have played a role in the early hacking of Jack Dorsey's Twitter account. His exact role in this current operation remains ambiguous, but he manages to post a screenshot of the Twitter admin interface, indicating he had internal access at some point. Soon after, the tweet is swiftly removed. Meanwhile, within Twitter's own system, alarm bells are starting to ring. Support teams detect strange incoming calls from internal support channels from the very early hours, and by midday they record a surge of suspicious account logins. It's no longer a joke. Someone inside the system is orchestrating this chaos. Time is running out for Twitter's security teams. Gremmin, recognizing the urgency, decides to push forward and triggers the third phase of their plan. This stage centers on a simple yet powerful message: send 1 Bitcoin, and you'll receive twice that amount in return. This scheme aims to exploit the credibility of the broader cryptocurrency community, which was especially active in the summer of 2020. That summer was marked by the ongoing pandemic, which had caused unprecedented upheaval in markets worldwide, including the rapidly fluctuating terrain of cryptocurrencies. During this turbulent period, a scam website named cryptofours.com was launched, promising people assistance during difficult financial times. Its pitch was alluring: send us Bitcoin and we will return double the amount, a classic bait and switch. The promise of immediate profit, which sounded almost too good to be true, quickly attracted numerous victims. People, lured by the prospect of earning money passively, would send their Bitcoin with the expectation of receiving twice as much back. The organizers anticipated that they just needed to reach a wide audience, and the flood of participants would come naturally. To facilitate this, Gremmin quickly gained control over a number of influential accounts belonging to crypto influencers in major platforms. The first tweet, posted by Angelo BTC, marked the beginning of this operation. Soon, additional prominent accounts, at least 10 others, began to post similar messages. Within just a couple of hours, accounts representing the likes of Binance, Gemini, Coinbase, Ripple, and several other big names in the industry started tweeting simultaneously. Each message contained the same core message: offering quick profit in exchange for sending Bitcoin to a particular address. At exactly 3:16:15 p.m., Gremlin shifts his strategy. No longer does he include links or direct users to secondary sites. Instead, he only posts his Bitcoin wallet address. His aim now extends beyond the cryptocurrency world, seeking to cast a wider net and draw in unsuspecting victims from outside the crypto community. Just 2 minutes later, at 3:16:17 p.m., accounts belonging to well-known figures such as Elon Musk suddenly come alive with a message, helping followers during COVID. Following this, similar tweets appear from other high-profile personalities, including Bill Gates, who commands an audience of over 50 million followers, Kanye West with 30 million, and Jeff Bezos along with several celebrities and influential figures such as Mr. Beast, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and even corporations like Apple and Uber. Altogether, over 130 accounts are compromised in this wave of hacking. More than 40 of these accounts begin to broadcast the same enticing tweet, each featuring the hacker's Bitcoin address. These messages reach millions of viewers across the globe, and Twitter employees themselves observe the unfolding chaos. The social media giant's security team immediately recognizes this as a significant breach, and they announce that they are investigating the incident while working to implement urgent measures. An official statement is issued on the corporate account, mentioning that they are aware of the security breach and are actively analyzing the situation to prevent further damage. Despite these efforts, Gremlin's wallet continues to receive influxes of Bitcoin, as users, aware that it might be a scam but still motivated by the promise of easy riches, send their funds. Most people realize that they are being duped, understanding that the entire operation is a fraud. Yet there are always some willing to take the risk, and they send their Bitcoin regardless. To maximize the reach, Gremlin repeats the same posts across multiple pages, amplifying the deception. This chaos culminates in a final post, an announcement from Kim Kardashian's official account, further luring victims into the trap. Meanwhile, the intermediaries involved in the short username market are busy closing deals, some for sums in the thousands of dollars per username. The minimum price for a regular short handle is set at $1,000, while OG names fetch at least $2,500. Gremlin agrees to set the minimum at just $1,000 for all accounts, and he is willing to take 20 deals under these conditions. The scene is set for continued manipulation, with everyone involved vying for as much profit as possible in this sprawling, covert operation. Do you trust? Sometimes trust becomes a necessity for virtually everything. For instance, when handling substantial sums of money or sensitive information, unwavering trust can be the difference between success and catastrophe. In a particular case, a sum amounting to $22,000 was involved, an amount that, while not insignificant, was still manageable within the context of their operations. This sum included, as they said, something related to criminal activities. However, the exact nature of these activities was less important than the fact that it was deemed acceptable for their purposes. An arrangement was made, a list of email addresses was shared, and the $22,000 were transferred to their designated e-wallets. This transaction, seemingly routine, was part of the larger scheme that was about to reach a critical turning point. They agreed that this would be the last deal of such a scale, signaling a kind of closure to an ongoing series of exchanges. It was also understood that the platform they were using, their digital marketplace, was under imminent threat. Twitter, a titan of social media and a pivotal tool in their operations, was now actively heading towards a shutdown of sorts. The phrase, "the platform is being pulled the plug," perfectly captured the gravity of the situation. By Wednesday evening, in the quiet of an empty office, no one dared to leave. Someone was seated at the terminal, quietly sifting through internal networks, examining access logs, and subtly tampering with operational controls. Amidst this tense atmosphere, they were also dispatching a flurry of lavish tweets, each containing a Bitcoin wallet address, perhaps as a distraction or as a part of their cryptic communications. The decision to impose such severe restrictions was harsh but necessary. It was a decisive and firm action to limit nearly all activity on the platform. Official statements emerged from Twitter, announcing that users might temporarily be unable to tweet or change passwords as they investigated the incident carefully. Many verified accounts were explicitly barred from posting or modifying their credentials as a security measure. Any account where the password had been altered within the past 30 days was automatically blocked from access. The internal security team swiftly terminated all active VPN sessions of their employees, including their top administrators, to prevent further infiltration. This entire crackdown eventually brought the breach to an end, with the attack contained and suppressed. However, this abrupt shutdown had a ripple effect beyond their initial expectations. Not only did it silence celebrity accounts, but it also caused a temporary silence across the media landscape. News outlets and journalists, accustomed to breaking updates around the clock, suddenly found themselves unable to access or post any information. Even the National Weather Agency experienced a disruption. Their warnings about an impending tornado were muddled or delayed. As the night deepened, many of the compromised accounts gradually regained functionality, but some remained offline for a longer period to ensure full recovery. Throughout this crisis, Elon Musk, the platform's owner, did not post any messages for 3 days, an unusually long silence for such a prominent figure. For him, this kind of inactivity was rare and noteworthy, given the constant stream of updates and engagement he usually maintained. Those involved in the digital underworld are well aware that money always leaves traces. During the chaos, the infamous individual known as Lowell expressed doubts about a particular user named Kirby, debating whether he was truly involved. Later that night, Shevin, a fellow hacker, reached out with a blunt message. "It's not that I'm upset, more like I'm angry. He only made 20 Bitcoin from it." Based on estimates, Greem, another key actor, lost approximately $180,000 in the aftermath of the breach. Major cryptocurrency accounts swiftly flagged their wallets, blocking potential transfers, in total roughly $5 million. The ensuing investigation followed a familiar pattern. Authorities and cybersecurity specialists focused on suspect profiles like AV1 and roles. They tracked connections through OG, original users, linking emails to specific crypto wallets and matching IP addresses. The precise means by which Greem was compromised was not publicly disclosed, primarily because Greem was a minor. The case was sealed, and the individual's identity remained confidential. 2 weeks after the attack, official statements finally surfaced confirming that charges had been brought against several individuals, including Mason Shepard, known as Rook, age 19, and Bogner Regis from the United Kingdom. Also implicated was Nemi Fiale, a 22-year-old from Orlando, Florida, who was not associated with the notorious Krolix group. The minor's name, by law, was not revealed. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the initial hearings were held via Zoom, which quickly devolved into chaos. Outsiders infiltrated the virtual courtroom, blasting rap music and playing inappropriate videos, disrupting proceedings. The presiding judge, visibly angry, interrupted the hearing, emphasizing the seriousness of the disruption. Regarding the sentencing and their subsequent fates, Ivan Clark, commonly known as Grom, was sentenced in spring of 2021 to 3 years in a juvenile detention facility. Because he cooperated with authorities, he avoided adult criminal charges. His time served in pretrial detention, 229 days, was credited toward his sentence. By February of 2023, he was already under probation, serving a 3-year probationary period. He was considered guilty, but his cooperation significantly mitigated his punishment. As for Nemi Fiale of Rolls, the story remains somewhat unclear. Some sources indicate he received a 3-year prison sentence, while others suggest that negotiations were ongoing and a plea deal was possible. The final resolution would depend on further proceedings and the presentation of evidence, but discrepancies persist in publicly available records. Mason Shepard, known as Rook, remained in the United Kingdom at the time. The BBC reported that he had not been arrested or extradited to the United States. Should he ever face trial in America, he could potentially face up to 20 years in prison, depending on the specific charges and the strength of the evidence against him. Meanwhile, Joseph O'Neill Joe was arrested about a year after the breach in Spain. He was sentenced to 5 years behind bars, but not directly for the Twitter hack. His convictions stem from earlier offenses unrelated to the recent attack, which nevertheless linked him to this circle of cybercrime. In this story, the individual openly admits that his involvement was quite limited, primarily consisting of purchasing a nickname for a sum of $10,000, and he claims to have had little to no active participation inside the scheme. The true extent of his involvement remains shrouded in ambiguity, with the details of what his role encompassed still largely unclear. Was he merely assisting with the sale of usernames, or did he play a broader part in the operation? There are no definitive answers to these questions, only speculation. The reason this scheme managed to succeed lies not in hacking codes or exploiting complex technical vulnerabilities, but rather in mastering the art of conversation, what is known as social engineering. The core tactic hinges on simple, yet effective elements that bypass technical defenses altogether. Essentially, what enabled the attack was not an advanced exploit but a carefully orchestrated psychological assault directed at human vulnerability. The process unfolds step by step, often starting with a seemingly harmless phone call. An attacker, masquerading as a member of support staff, contacts their target and presents themselves as an official representative, gaining initial trust through familiarity or a sense of urgency. Meanwhile, on their end, the attacker creates a fake login page, an imitation of the real portal, opened on a separate tab or window, while the victim interacts with the fraudulent website. The victim, believing they are entering credentials into a legitimate portal, unwittingly inputs their username and password on the fake interface. Immediately, the attacker captures these login details and then promptly enters them into the real website using their own access. If the targeted account requires two-factor authentication, an SMS containing a verification code is sent to the victim's phone. The unsuspecting individual, thinking they are dealing with a genuine process, inputs this code on the fake page, unaware that the attacker is simultaneously copying it into the real login form. This straightforward yet cunning trick, often called relay attack, yields the attacker internal access via a VPN or secure tunnel. Once inside, the attacker can scan for accounts with elevated privileges, such as administrative or high-security accounts. For example, they might identify a user with significant rights or permissions, and then proceed to change the email associated with that account or initiate a password reset. These simple yet powerful actions grant them control over critical accounts with minimal effort, exemplifying how straightforward social engineering strategies can be devastating. This method's danger lies precisely in its simplicity. There is no need to crack complex encryption algorithms or breach heavily fortified firewalls when you can simply persuade a person to hand over their credentials by catching a single SMS or convincing someone to reveal their passcodes. It is a stark reminder of how human weakness, exploited skillfully, can undermine even the most robust technical protections. Now, considering how ordinary individuals can defend themselves against such threats, it's crucial to understand basic yet effective security practices. First and foremost, never under any circumstances trust incoming calls from unknown numbers claiming to be support agents or representatives. If you receive such a call and are asked to perform an urgent action, it is a warning signal. End the conversation immediately and independently verify the caller's identity by contacting the official support channels of the company or service involved, using their verified number or website, not the number provided during the suspicious call. Secondly, never disclose or input verification codes prompted by links or messages from unknown or untrusted sources. Think of two-factor authentication codes as keys to your digital front door, valuable and exclusively meant for use on the authentic website or official app. If someone asks you to say these codes aloud or input them into a different interface, that is a clear red flag indicating a scam attempt. Thirdly, it's advisable to replace traditional SMS-based two-factor authentication with more secure alternatives. Using an authenticator app, such as Google Authenticator, Authy, or similar, significantly reduces the risk of SIM swapping or interception. Better yet, employ hardware security keys, such as those supporting standards like U2F or FIDO2, which provide an additional layer of protection against common attacks targeting SMS or app-based 2FA. Fourth, be alert to irregularities with your phone's signal or connectivity. If suddenly your phone shows no network or cannot connect to the internet, while others around you have no issues, that could indicate your SIM card has been reissued without your knowledge. In such cases, immediately contact your mobile provider from a different phone to report the issue have the suspicious SIM blocked, and verify your account's security. It's a clear warning sign of potential malicious activity aimed at hijacking your mobile identity. Fifth, consider the strength and uniqueness of your passwords. Use long, complex, and completely unique passwords for each service. Never reuse the same password across multiple platforms. Employing a trusted password manager can make this task manageable, helping you generate and store secure credentials safely. Sixth, your email account holds nearly limitless control. It's often the key to resetting passwords for other services. Therefore, securing your email with a robust, separate password and enabling hardware or app-based two-factor authentication is vital. Avoid codes sent via SMS for this purpose. Instead, opt for authentication apps or physical security keys to safeguard this critical account. Seventh, adopt a cautious approach when encountering offers that seem too good to be true. Remember the old adage, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. For example, promises of doubling your bitcoins or receiving free gifts from unknown sources are often traps designed to lure victims. Be skeptical and verify the legitimacy of such offers before engaging, recognizing that many cybercriminals operate by enticing users with tempting but fake temptations. Finally, consider the potential consequences if malicious actors or even large platforms like Twitter or cryptocurrency exchanges were to respond more slowly during a crisis. Even a brief delay in security responses or market reactions could lead to enormously larger financial losses. The influence of a single, well-placed tweet from a high-profile figure, such as a CEO or a renowned celebrity, can serve as a powerful leverage point. A single statement from someone like Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, or Tim Cook, disseminated via their social media accounts, can trigger rapid and widespread market movements, manipulate public sentiment, or manipulate the online climate rapidly. In such scenarios, a fleeting few hours of miscommunication or delayed response could translate into losses amounting to multiple times the initial investment or market value. Viral messages from influential personalities act as a mighty lever, capable of swaying millions of individuals to act instantaneously, often without fully scrutinizing the information. Their tweets or statements are not just words, they are tools capable of triggering a chain reaction that impacts financial markets, societal perceptions, and even political landscapes. The power inherent in this form of influence is profound and must be recognized as more than mere social media activity. It is a dangerous force that, if exploited maliciously or misused, can reshape economic realities in an instant. In essence, understanding and recognizing these tactics, as well as adopting proper security measures, is crucial for any individual or organization aiming to stay one step ahead of those who would manipulate human psychology for their own gain. This story is not about genius hackers or highly skilled cyber criminals orchestrating sophisticated cyber attacks. Instead, it focuses on a fundamental vulnerability that exists within every human being, an Achilles heel that can compromise even the most secure systems. No matter how complex or impenetrable a network's defenses might appear, whether it be passwords, firewalls, or encryption protocols, everything can easily come crashing down if a single person succumbs to a simple yet deadly mistake. Imagine a scenario, perhaps frightening in its simplicity. An attacker manages to exploit the most basic form of social engineering. They succeed in convincing someone to reveal their personal security details or to unknowingly authorize access by trusting a voice on the other end of the line. For instance, they might persuade an individual to enter a two-factor authentication code, which then grants an outsider access to private accounts or sensitive information. The entire fortress of digital security, built painstakingly with advanced encryption and multiple layers of protection, can be rendered useless if someone unknowingly pulls back the curtain and hands over the keys. Now ask yourself honestly, what would you do if tomorrow a stranger's voice suddenly called you and urgently demanded, "Please confirm your login right now, or your access will be terminated immediately"? Would you halt, think carefully, or immediately comply out of fear or confusion? This hypothetical situation underscores the crucial importance of vigilance in our daily lives. Your instinctive reaction, whether cautious or impulsive, serves as a reflection of your personal security awareness and how well you safeguard your digital and personal boundaries. Understanding that the weakest link in any safety chain is often a human factor emphasizes the need for constant awareness and cautious behavior. No matter how advanced the protections are, be it complex passwords, biometric systems, or encrypted channels, the human element remains the most vulnerable part. Often, it's a matter of a single lapse, a moment of inattention that can lead to significant security breaches with far-reaching consequences. Reflect on your own habits and mindset in this context. Do you remain alert to the possibility of social engineering attempts? And do you take measures to protect yourself? Or might you, perhaps unconsciously, be exposing yourself to risks by trusting unfamiliar voices or sharing sensitive information over the phone? Your responses to such scenarios are vital because ultimately they determine your personal safety in an increasingly interconnected and digital world. This incident highlights a critical reality. Cybersecurity, beyond sophisticated software and hardware, hinges on human vigilance and awareness. As we become ever more dependent on digital systems, from banking and personal communication to corporate networks, the need for cautious behavior and skepticism grows stronger. Trusting a voice on the phone or following a suspicious instruction without verification can undo years of technological advancements and stringent security measures. The key takeaway here is that protecting our digital lives cannot rely solely on technological solutions. It must also involve educating ourselves about potential threats and cultivating a healthy skepticism towards unsolicited requests for confidential information. Remember, the most secure system is only as strong as the weakest human link within it. And sometimes this vulnerability is as simple as believing someone claiming to be a trusted source. I encourage you to reflect on your own habits and mindset. Are you doing enough to shield yourself from social engineering attacks? Are you aware of how easily trust can be misplaced when someone exploits our natural tendency to be helpful or anxious in uncertain situations? Consider these questions carefully because your immediate instinct and cautiousness can be the decisive factor in protecting your personal security. If this message resonates with you and prompts you to think more critically about your security practices, please share your thoughts and experiences below. Your feedback is invaluable, especially because this was a test format designed to gauge understanding and awareness. Engaging in such conversations can help us all become more vigilant and better prepared to recognize and counteract social engineering threats. Thank you sincerely for taking the time to consider this message. Your attentiveness and awareness are vital in building a safer, more secure digital environment. Now, as you process this information, I invite you to explore some of our previous episodes, which contain equally insightful and compelling content tailored for a discerning audience that values security, intelligence, and technological literacy. Let us continue to learn and grow together, ensuring that we are never the weakest link in the chain,